Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the On the Map Challenge on Alma, Missouri. Today is the start of planting season. It's April 1st, and we are about to load the planter and head out and start planting our first field of corn crop. It is a little bit early in the morning, but we've bought seed, we've got the planter out, we've made sure everything's working on the planter, we've tested the hydraulics and stuff. Since this is a new to us planter, we've never ran this setup before, but we did take the trailer down to the co-op. We bought a few pro boxes of seeds. What this is right here, we got some hybrid corn seed, and then we've also got bags in the seed rack in the shop. So today we are going to be using our brand new tractor and brand new planter setup. We've got the GPS set up just like we want it, and this is going to be putting our year 3 corn in the ground as well as our soybeans, but we will get to that a little bit later because today we're going to be focusing on corn. And then we also have a little bit of fitting left to do in our fields. There's a field or two that still needs to be plowed behind or disked up after we plowed it. So we've got this setup rocking as well, and me, Todd, and Dalton are going to be hard at work today trying to get the spring crop planted. We always like getting a jump on the growing season pretty early because it means we can harvest a little bit earlier into the year and get our plowing and tillage done a little bit earlier into fall, and it just helps out with double cropping whenever we drill winter wheat and that sort of thing. So with all that being said, let's just go ahead and get right into this one. Let's fill this planter up. We also have to put some liquid fertilizer in the tanks as well. But let's get it filled up, let's head out to the field, and let's plant us some year 3 crop. But first, cue the intro. Well, it is that time of the year again. Every single time the clock seems to jump straight into April, we hop right on the busy train, and this year, well, that's no different. And I'm obviously talking about planting, of course, because we do not like to wait around for the crops to grow by themselves. Usually we jump straight into planting, so yeah, that's what this episode is going to be about today, you guys. So we've got the planter all filled up with seed. We just only used one of the seed boxes. The other one we'll put aside. It's still got some seed left over we'll use later. But for right now, we do have to put some liquid fertilizer in the tanks up top, so we'll go and grab that. But like I did say in the intro, we pulled the tractor out, we pulled the planter out, we got everything set up and ready. We did some test runs around the yard making sure GPS was working right, and sure enough, sure dang is. So yeah, besides it being one heck of a setup, it is working like a dream come true. So we're going to put it to the test when we get to the field, but for right now, just kind of admire this thing in the yard. I did want to run the new tractor on the planter just to get it dialed in, but there will be times where we do have to run the 8300 on the planter, I'm sure. It's kind of like an old versus a new setup right here. Both tractors are fit for field work, tillage, planting, that sort of thing, but for today, we are going to be running the brand new tractor on the planter because, come on, who would miss that, right? We got to run the new tractor on the new stuff. So I'm not going to leave you guys waiting in this one. We're not going to do much talking around. We're just going to kind of get right into this one. So I am going to go and grab that thing of fertilizer wherever I left it at. I think it's over here. I moved it out of the shop because there's just so much stuff in there. We've got bags of lime, solid fertilizer. There's even some herbicide and seeds and stuff. So yeah, a lot of shuffling around with the skid steer this morning. I feel like that's about all that we've done. We showed up at the co-op with that trailer pretty early. I think it was about 6 o'clock. And they loaded us up with seed, and then we also picked up this barrel of fertilizer as well. But the money has gone to everything like lime, seed, fertilizer. The stuff is not very cheap, so we did lose about 30 grand over the last month, which is a little bit scary, but we are still kind of staying afloat just a tiny bit. And I'm sure we'll keep most of this until the summertime when we do end up selling our soybeans. So no worry, I would not think right now. I'm pretty sure we're going to make it. And we just about missed the mark there. So we are topped off with the planter. Everything is at 100%, so we'll set this skid steer aside. Not even really sure where to put this at, I guess just like right here with the rest of this mess, and then we'll leave the skid steer in here as well. Just why not? We're going to be doing a lot of shuffling around with the seed pallets as well. But yeah, it is full. It was empty about a month ago, and now the seed rack is back full. So while it is a mess, I do kind of like how much we've got left over. It keeps us from having to buy more, so I do like that. I could take some time to tidy it up, but that's just not really something I'm worried about right now. So we are going to close this up for just the time being. I don't really have another reason to leave it open. And so not too much has happened since March. I mean, we did spread lime on those 2 fields. That is something that Todd is actually coming to the farm to do today. I was wrong. He's got 2 fields that he's going to have to disc up. So we bought lime in middle of March. We spread lime on our 2 brand new fields that we picked up this winter. And then we are prepping the cultivator to head out, or the disc, whatever. We're going to head out and finish those fields out because they're just kind of plowed up right now, or whatever they were when we bought the fields. And then another big news, we had a tornado come through here yesterday, which is a little interesting because you don't see tornadoes come through in March. I don't think. It was like March 3rd. It came on these railroad tracks right here is where it started, and it came all the way down to, honestly, really close to my field of wheat. You can see the spots where hail has already damaged some of my fields, which is just awesome. I just love that. We haven't even started planting, and we've already got hail damage and tornadoes. So if that doesn't say a little bit about the way this year's going to pan out, I don't know what will. And with rain in the forecast, I don't know how this spring is really going to turn out. They were saying it was going to be a wet spring, so we're just going to have to see how that actually turns out to be. But other than that, the grass is greener, the trees are a whole lot greener, and we've just been feeding cows. So yeah, pretty laid back start to spring, but now we're going to start ramping stuff up. So this is the first time I think we have actually ever been in this tractor. And I must say, after playing around with it for a little while, it's pretty awesome, I gotta say. Alright, so got the planter all folded up, tractor is ready, full of diesel. We'll get turned around here and we will start the journey up the dirt road because we are going to plant one of our new fields first. I'm kind of all over the place with the order of how we're tending to our fields, but I do think Todd has already disked up one of the new ones, so we'll head down here and see. We do want to put corn on our new fields this year, so we're going to start with our new field and just see how everything's working. Oh, and speaking of new fields, we also bought soil samples for both of the new fields, which was another $7,000, so yeah, I didn't realize having $80,000 would quickly turn into $30,000 in just a couple months. So maybe we shouldn't have spent so much money at the end of year 2, but who am I kidding? I think it was kind of worth it because if we didn't spend all that money, we wouldn't be driving this absolute awesome setup right now. And this tractor is pretty quick too. I was worried it was going to be a little slow like the Magnum and the 4250, but 24 miles an hour, it seems like it really gets it. I mean, we are in road gear right now. We are flying. Oh, and if you guys were wanting to see what the inside of this tractor looks like, she is a beaut. We've got a monitor in here. Like I said, GPS is working, so we're going to give it a run for its money. And I do like the row marker all the way up the hood, if that's what that's supposed to be, I'm assuming, and I do like that pretty good. Just an all-around good tractor. I do really enjoy this tractor. Just an all-around pretty solid rig, if I do say so myself. Oh, and we also might have to come back and apply some fertilizer on our wheat fields as well. Totally forgot to mention that. That's just spur of the moment kind of thing, but who knows, we might. We'll be just top dressing, so we'll use the sprayer and just fill it up with liquid fertilizer. We're going to have to probably pick up some more though if we want to do that. But yeah, this in here is basically unfamiliar territory with this series. For the ones who watched the series in Farming Simulator 22, you guys recognize this area especially almost instantly, but I'm hoping to slowly expand my acreage down in this part of the map because this is undoubtedly my favorite part of the map. I do love these smaller rolling hills mixed with the just huge flat open fields on the other side of this bridge right here. You'll see what I'm talking about. Well, up that hill, but as well as to the left, just how open that is. And speaking of that, this is one of the first times I've actually been down to this part of the map on 25. So with there being no field approach into this field, we're just going to have to kind of wing it and drive through the grass right here. And it looks like Todd did in fact finish this field up. So you can actually see where we put some lime out right there in the corner of the field. There's a little bit he missed. But yeah, this field needed a few things. It was honestly looking pretty good even after we bought it. Usually the field is in pretty dire shape after we pick it up from somebody else, and we're the ones that have to fix the nitrogen and all that stuff. Well, we have to fix the nitrogen too, but we're about to do that right now. That's why we've got liquid fertilizer in the tank. Alright, so we'll drop the planter down. Let's turn the map on so I can get a better idea of what's going on the surface. Oh, and check it out. We are planting corn in year 3. First field is going down right here. And man, does it feel nice to be running a bigger planter. A little bit of a change up for sure. And this time we're running all green. No more Kinsey blue. I do like the brand change a little bit as well. So the only downside to this planter is we don't have a 12-row corn head yet, so we're not going to be able to follow the planter exactly where we're planting at. And I mean, we could fix this by planting 2 headlands. I think that might solve the problem because we've got an 8-row corn head still, but we could work with 1 headland pass. We just have to have a little bit of a guess row, and that just means we'd come back and harvest 4 rows because it'd be 8 and then 4 the next pass. So I mean, that's not a bad thing. It's just kind of irritating. You're kind of falling behind. You're not saving any time with a guess row. So, but for a field like this, I'm not really sure what we will do. We'll just try and experiment with stuff. That's what we're here for. Oh, and with this planter actually having no row cleaners, we need all of the fields we plant into to look pretty similar to this right here, where it's really smooth ground, because no row cleaners means we can't really clean out the planter of trash and stuff in the field, residue. So we kind of have to have a nice seed bed to plant into, which does help the yield, of course, but it is a little annoying when we're trying to plant quickly and stuff. But we've got plenty of time to worry about tillage right now, so it's not a huge issue, just if we were to expand our acreage a little more. And I can already tell that liquid fertilizer on this planter is going to be a big hassle, I feel like, because we are running out pretty quickly. And liquid fertilizer implementing with the seed as well is something that I don't do often, because I do kind of like going back and spraying with the sprayer behind the planter, which for some reason you can't really do that in precision farming. You just have to put some nitrogen out and call it a day. Whenever you do it, it doesn't matter whether it's spraying with a spreader or like I'm doing right now with the planter. And as long as you put some nitrogen out, it usually fixes the soil all at once. And I'm sure there's a way you can decrease that value and, you know, put a little bit at a time, which we might actually look at that in 1 second, and then obviously have to come back and spray the field a few times to keep applying that nitrogen. That's something we can for sure try and do. I think that wouldn't hurt anything. It'd be more realistic that way. So just came up with that on the spot. We'll figure that out in just 1 second. But I was going to say that putting liquid fertilizer in the planter definitely saves time, that's for sure, because we're doing 2 things at once when we would normally have to come back and do this a second time. So yeah, we'll pick up here and we'll check that out. Actually, I'm a little curious to see. Well, I think for this field we are just going to go around one more time, 2 headland passes, and we're just going to keep planting the same amount of nitrogen as we were, because whenever I disable the automatic nitrogen output or whatever it is, it only puts a tiny little sliver of nitrogen out, and we'd have to put about 10 sprayer passes, and yeah, that's not something I want to do. So I guess we'll put fertilizer out like this, and we will spray herbicide with the sprayer. So we're not making the sprayer totally useless. That was something I'd be worried about. Totally forgot about herbicide. But yeah, planting is going really smooth so far. Figured we'd do a little bit of in-cab as well, just to show off how slick this planter looks when you turn around and look at the windshield, or the back windshield. I do actually really like this planter a whole lot. And yeah, you can see GPS is working a dream on this tractor. It's a little bit smoother than the 8300 is, and I'm just guessing that is because we've got a newer Green Star system in here. I could be wrong though. And this tractor is having absolutely no issue pulling this planter either. So, and my gosh, we are burning through the liquid fertilizer. So, oh no, that's not good. We don't have a lot of money in our bank account to just be spending on a bunch of liquid fertilizer tanks. So, oh gosh, we might actually have to lower the fertilizer rate that we're putting out on this field, or figure out a way to turn it off in precision farming or something. 'Cause, I mean, look in this top left corner how much we're putting. We're putting 145 kilograms of nitrogen per hectare. I don't know why in the world that's not acre, but yeah, that's a lot either way. Alright, well there's 2 headland passes. Let's actually start getting into the field a little more now. We'll start about right in here, and we'll go down the field 1 time here. We are kind of going at a slight angle to make this field a little easier when we're turning around. because of how jagged this field is. Trust me, I have learned a lot from planting on this field and harvesting and everything in Farming Simulator 22. This was always a weird field to plant and work on, so we're going to approach it a little bit differently this time. I set GPS to kind of plant at an angle, kind of like we did with the headlands over on this side, and it should line up a whole lot more even. Well, actually, we maybe should have gone the other direction, but it's alright either way. This planter does in fact have row shut off, unlike the last planter we had, so we don't have to worry about overplanting. Oh, and speaking of the old planter, we finally got rid of it. I just kind of kept it around the farm just to make sure this planter was working and there was no bugs on it or anything, because this is a pretty new planter to testing. It just came out the other week and it runs all good, so we got rid of the 8 row. I was just also going to keep it as like a backup because there's no reason to sell it off if you still kind of have some use out of it, but we got about $15,000 from that planter, so yeah, there's no reason to keep it around when we were going to make that much money off of it. So, and we definitely needed it. If you can look, top right corner, yeah, we're struggling here. But we've only got about 2 more months until we sell off our soybeans, so we'll use this $30,000 as much as we want to, just hopefully not go into the negatives, and we should be fine. But I don't want to hold my breath because every time I do that I end up just blowing all my money away, so I need to watch my spending. Okay, now we're going to finish this part of the field up with this little sliver left right here. Drop it down again and we will finish this part up. So I will talk about what crops we're going to be planting on what field in a little bit, because I have an entire explanation of how we're doing crop rotation this year, but for the most part you can expect soybeans or wheat to be on the cornfields from last year, and then some fields are going to go back into corn, that sort of thing. I mean, that's the only 3 crops we're working with. But as far as wheat goes, we're double cropping, so we've got wheat growing in 2 of our fields right now, and as soon as it's grown and ready to harvest, we're going to get it out and put soybeans on those fields. So 2 crops in 1 year. That's not how every field is going to be, just those 2 specific fields. Everything else is going to be a single crop field. So this one's going to be corn. Next year it will more than likely be wheat, and if double cropping goes well, we will do the same thing we've done on those 2 fields this past year on this field this year. So we'll put wheat in this coming fall on this field, and then we'll harvest it in year 4 and plant soybeans in year 4 on this field. That is if everything goes smooth, because wheat will replenish the nitrogen in the soil from corn, and then soybeans will just give us extra crop, because corn does love to take all the nitrogen out of the soil. So we've got to fight that off with a different crop type every once in a while, because I've learned that planting corn on corn with precision farming absolutely tanks your nitrogen levels, so no good. And also, we are missing quite a few spots. I need to fine-tune this GPS a little bit, it looks like, and we are almost already out of liquid fertilizer, so not liking the sound of that. But if you look at the yield map, we are in the green everywhere, so we are sitting pretty with nitrogen. It has reached its goal finally. I mean, we have totally 180'd this field's nitrogen level. It was horrible when we bought it, and now it is it's awesome, actually. I was going to say subpar, but that's not the word to use there at all. It's total opposite of subpar as well. It's doing great. So I'm going to ring Todd here in just a second. I'm going to go tell him to grab some more liquid fertilizer, unless we've got some laying around the farm. If we do, that would be nice, because I do not like spending that much money on liquid fertilizer. It's like $3,000 a barrel, so stuff is very precious, and you know, we might have to stop putting liquid fertilizer whenever we plant fields like this, because it might be a little too expensive for us right now. Whenever we get out of this field, I will figure out if there's a way I can decrease how much nitrogen we're putting out, because we are absolutely burning through this stuff. So I'm sure there's somebody a lot smarter than me out there, probably really upset that I have not found it yet. I'm not a technology genius, so I'll figure it out when we're done with this field. But we are more than likely going to run out of nitrogen to put down before we get to the end of this field. So, but I did want a 4-wheel drive tractor, or front wheel assist, I guess I should really say, for this exact reason right here. I don't have another tractor on the farm. Well, I guess the 8300 would perform like this, but nothing else will pull this planter up this hill as easily as this tractor does. I mean, obviously the 260 horsepower is to blame, but just the front wheel assist and how easily it just goes. I mean, it's a literal tank. It pulls this planter super easily, and at 8 miles an hour, by the way. Totally forgot to mention that. That is very fast, or it seems fast to me either way. Something that is very easy to tell though is how fast we are getting done with this field. The 8-row planter has nothing on this planter. I mean, we are absolutely knocking this out. And it's the first field and we're almost done. I cannot believe it at all. It's we're flying through it is what we're doing. I mean, it's only what, 4 rows bigger, which I mean doesn't really sound like a whole lot, but definitely does seem like it on this planter, especially because I feel like this planter is more true 30-inch spacing, whereas the Kinsey we had was more, it looked like 22-inch, because I think 15-inch was way too small, but I don't really think it was true 30-inch. It was a little underscaled or something, but I'm not sure. I am probably wrong. I usually tend to be wrong about stuff like that, so I just happened to notice little things like that and then assume it's not accurate or whatever. I don't know. I'm probably wrong. Oh, and just like that, we are basically out of liquid fertilizer. So, yeah, I'm going to give Todd a call, or Dalton. He's also at the farm today. I'm going to call either one of them and see if they can help me out here and come pick up some liquid fertilizer for me. I'm not even going to start the next row. I'm just going to pull over here and wait for them. And in the meanwhile, I will see if I can figure out a way to not put so much nitrogen out. I feel like we are just absolutely burning through this stuff. Like I said, we do not have the money to keep refilling this planter, so I don't know, maybe in the next couple fields we're just going to have to turn it off and just plant just the seeds, because look at the seeds we've got left over versus the liquid fertilizer. We are, yeah, it's total opposites. So I'm going to wait in the air conditioning of the tractor until they get back, which could take a while. So I will see you guys then, and we will be right back to planting, hopefully with some full tanks of liquid fertilizer. Alright, so it's been a little bit. I just decided to finish up that field off camera as well as another one, and I finally got the precision farming stuff figured out with like fertilizer. We really are just putting out this much, so we're just gonna have to blow a little bit of our money this year on liquid fertilizer. It's probably no big deal. And I also did close the top window. I don't know if that was bothering anybody else, where you could see the nitrogen rate and the seed rate and all that. It was bothering me a little bit, so we'll just do like we did in the old-fashioned days and use our mini map. I do like that a little better, I would say. I don't know about you guys, but just that big old window in the top left corner was kind of bugging me. But yeah, we are at the next field. This is one of our many fields of corn that we are going to be planting, which actually I'll take this time to kind of go over that because I don't think I've done that yet. And actually, before I start here, I will show you guys the progress. So here was where we were, number 7, that's finished, and 42 is also done. Now, but I don't think I talked about this, but what fields are we going to be planting in corn, and you know, like what crop is going in what field this year? Well, obviously 7 and 42 are corn. They're already corn. And then here's where we are. 27 and 26, both of these are going to be corn, and then as well as 35 and 25. That leaves only 33 right here to be in soybeans. But whenever we harvest the wheat on 31 and 28, these two right here that have wheat on them, we're going to put soybeans behind this since we're double cropping. So we will have 3 fields of soybeans, 2 fields of wheat, and a lot of corn. Hold on one second. How many? 6 fields of corn. I think I had already mentioned this maybe. I don't think I did though. This is a different day of me recording, so I'm trying to retrace my thoughts. But yeah, did a lot of work off camera. This planter is amazing. It is still blowing me away. I absolutely love it. Honestly, one of the better deals I've made for equipment on this series was to just go ahead and buy this out. Seriously, such a good choice by me. So yeah, we're gonna get started on this field. You know, like you saw, we've got a pretty good ways to go, so it wouldn't hurt to start knocking this stuff out. But we had to buy 2 more jugs of liquid fertilizer, or barrels, whatever, so the money went down again. Starting to really get a little worried because of how much money we've got in our bank account. We are losing a lot. I really underestimated how expensive spring this year was going to be, so that's not great. But summer is rapidly approaching, and we'll be back up on our feet in no time. At least that's the hope. We'll see. Yeah, we got the seeds topped off. The tanks are topped off with fertilizer. So we're just going to keep on trucking. Now we'll actually open my map here so you guys can see the nitrogen rate that's being put out on the field, I mean, it is doing a world of difference. It's just corn crop, man. It totally takes all the nitrogen out of the soil completely. So we have to replenish it 100% the next year, and that's why we're spending so much money on this stuff. That's the only reason, really. I just feel like whenever it's middle of the winter, we need to stock up on liquid fertilizer and seed when I've just got a bunch of money, rather than waiting after I spend it all to buy the seeds and everything. We need to keep it on standby instead of it comes time to plant and I don't have anything because I really procrastinate this money I've got to spend on this kind of stuff. Because this year I was like, oh man, it's time to plant, and oh man, we're out of everything. We got to pick up seeds and fertilizer. Which I guess whenever we plant soybeans, we will have the liquid fertilizer turned off, since for some reason in the game it doesn't take extra nitrogen. So hey, that's another thing we don't have to spend money on. But I mean, we also could just plant corn, right? We don't have to use the tanks, but you guys can definitely let me know if this is something that you would do. I would like a public opinion, or like a second opinion, because to be honest with you, I usually just run the boxes with seed and then pre-merge and stuff right after you plant. I mean, how common really is injecting fertilizer whenever you plant like this? I know it's not the most common around where I live, but other places it might be, because like I said, everybody usually just puts the crop in the ground and then they come back and spray it after it had already been applicated, or what's the word, the crop's already in the ground. So yeah, everybody does their setup a little differently. I'm just doing what I'm used to, and obviously I'm trying something a little different, so forgive me if I'm totally screwing this up as well. But it definitely keeps us from having to top dress fertilizer with the sprayer, and all we have to worry about using the sprayer for is getting rid of weeds. So that is something that we will invest in as we get bigger, because I don't think we're going to have a lot of time to plant and then apply fertilizer later on. So as we grow acres and we run short on time to get more planting done, because right now we're only working with 150 acres and we're still kind of pushing it to get everything in the ground. So having that extra step to not worry about, which is obviously top dressing fertilizer, because you do it when you plant, that's such a huge plus in my opinion. It's just when you're a small, under 1,000 acre farmer and you don't really have this kind of money to be spending on fertilizer, that's when it hurts you more than it benefits you. However, the wheat fields will still need fertilizer because we don't have a fertilizer tank on our drill and we need to apply nitrogen. So like I did mention earlier, we are going to put some of that on our wheat ground. Don't know when, but we will get to it. And as soon as I'm done with these fields, Todd is going to get back to the farm, and we're probably going to swap places, because as much as I love this tractor, I want to run the 8300 a little bit. Or maybe I lied. I just can't get over how slick this tractor is as well. They're both awesome rigs. Yeah, I'm definitely lying. This tractor is a whole lot more comfortable, and the air conditioning works 100% of the time. So I wonder if there's any wood I need to knock on here to keep that true, because the air conditioning really likes to go out on this farm a lot, on everything but the Ford tractor, because that's got natural air conditioning. Open station, you don't have to worry about that. But I mean, the hottest months of the year are coming up, and it's already 64 degrees in April, so you bet we're worrying about air conditioning this year. It is a big problem on the farm. Yeah, we're going to be doing some tillage, like I said. We'll swap tractors, spend some time in the 8300, and Todd's going to get to run the planter for a little bit. I know he is eager to try this setup out, and I don't blame him. I'm absolutely loving this. And I think we will be keeping this planter around for a while, so if you guys like this planter, good. It's staying for a pretty long time. We might even get two 12-row planters. But if you don't, if you're a Kinsey guy like some of you guys are, well, maybe a Kinsey will come in the future, but right now we're green on this farm. But don't worry, we won't be running tillage for too long. We've only got one field we need to clean up, and honestly, I could just tell Todd to go ahead and knock that out for me, but I think swapping places won't hurt anything, because I will get a little burnout from just planting every once in a while. So the only thing I cannot stop thinking about is I wonder if front duals are going to be overkill on this tractor, because like I said, we've got them. I wonder if we should run them. Probably not right now. Maybe if we get a little bit of a bigger cultivator or something, and maybe when we run some bigger wagons, like I mentioned, we'll put the front duals on here. But I just wonder if that'll be a little overkill for some of the stuff we're doing right now. I mean, to me, it does seem like it, since this tractor does want to pull this planter very nicely. I mean, 8 miles an hour seems pretty quick to me. Not a single struggle out of this tractor with the planter. So that's for sure something that'll come another day. But for right now, I think I'm going to finish these fields out real quick. So we will pick up at the end of this row here. We're kind of overplanting, but we got to make sure we don't miss anything. So we are now done with this side of the field. We've got a little bit at the top that we missed, but we're going to spin around here and clean up the left side as well, and we'll be out of here, and we'll go actually right there across the tree line. We're just going about 100 feet over to the next field. Something inside of me really does want to combine these two fields right here, the one I'm in and then the one to the left of me, but we've got this entire huge tree line, so I don't know. I've thought about it before because I did play on this series. I had this challenge a while back for a long time, so I'm an on the map challenge veteran on Alma, and I've thought of a lot of stuff, you know, and getting rid of this tree line was for sure something I did want to do. But I mean, look, as I'm just driving up through here, you can see how much really is in here. There's a lot, and especially as we get up the hill, it kind of comes back towards me more, and there's just a lot of trees. So maybe we can thin out some of the trees down there and connect them in a part, so that you don't have to, you know, drive all the way down the road to get to the other field. You can just start up here in front of me at the car wash, like enter the field that way, and then work your way into that side. It's actually not a half bad idea. Look at me go. They're just coming up with stuff on the go. That's not a bad idea. I'll think about that for sure. We just got to have something better than a chainsaw to clear out trees, because I do not want to do that again. Those little tiny tree lines that we cleaned out in those couple fields, was that a year or two ago? That took way too long. That was terrible. So maybe we can rent like a feller buncher or some kind of tree cutter, and we can get rid of all the trees or just mulch them up, something, because they're not really bigger trees. I mean, when you come up here they are, but down there they're just smaller trees. So I don't know, maybe we could mulch them like with an excavator or a skid steer or something. Oh, and I did get a price actually on the feedlot. I've kind of gone quiet about that last video or two. Oh yeah, and something else. Let's talk about this real quick. I did finally get a price on the feedlot, so I know how much money I'm going to have to spend to get it in working order and finished up, and so we're going to have to spend about $30,000 to get it finished out. I thought the building was going to be the expensive part, and it turns out it's not. All the fencing and work we're going to have to do to buy the feedlot part to put the cows in, all that's going to cost about 30 grand. So we'll obviously do the math whenever we sell off our soybeans in the summertime and see how much we can work into that. We might have to wait another year to get the feedlot up and running, but it would help us out a lot. And so I just really looked in my build menu and found a feedlot I like that produces manure. So I, you know, play tested with it, made sure everything was working right, and did all the adding up all the math and everything, and turns out we're gonna spend about 30 grand to get it all working. So yeah, and just in case you're wondering, I looked around my build menu and I found a feedlot area that I liked, and it does have manure, by the way. I'm not sure if I mentioned that, but we will finally get to use that spreader that I bought a long time ago. We spent like what, $20,000 on it or less, and haven't even touched it. So we'll finally get to use that. And that means spending less money of this stuff that I've been complaining about all video, because we'll already have some nitrogen count in our soil. So yeah, it has manure. There's a manure spawn for it, and yeah, like I said, I just found one that I liked. It cost about $30,000. So hopefully we'll have that up and running by what, June or so. If not, well, obviously money's going to be a hindrance. So, and also I was wrong about the feedlot as well. You can't feed them corn. You have to feed them like normal stuff, like total mixed ration or hay or silage. There's no cornmeal. I'm thinking of like Enhanced Animal or Maize Plus from the older Farming Simulator game or something. Unless there is actually a map out for 25 that you can feed animals corn, like cattle, like mineral feed, that sort of stuff. But as of right now, you can't, so I don't know where that analogy came from. But so I'm really just going to have to feed the cows hay until we get our hands on total mixed ration or something like that, because we don't have a way to ferment silage or ferment hay or chaff into silage. We don't have a method to do that. I mean, whether that be wrapping bales or chopping corn for silage, either one of those, we don't have anything to do silage with. So more than likely just going to feed them hay, which means we need to get the hay business back up and running again. Maybe even have to drill another field in hay, but I don't think so. We've got a lot of bales just kind of sitting in the shed that we can use. So, but just figured I'd touch base on that, because it has been a little while, or at least it feels like it's been a little while since I talked about the feedlot. But I'm still working really hard to get that up and running, because I do love the little cash bonus we're going to start making from that. And it's just cool, you know. I already talked about that in the last video. I do really enjoy working with the beef cows like that. So the sooner the better. But anyway, that is this field done. We'll get folded up and head down the road, but I might have to get Todd or Dalton to come back to the farm and fill me up with liquid fertilizer because we are once again running low. But other than the refilling problem, I have had a pretty smooth planting season so far. It's been a joy, honestly, especially running this new planter. I just cannot get enough how good this thing looks. So yeah, with that in mind, let's head on down to the next one. I'll get this field wrapped up today, and then like I mentioned, we'll probably be in the driver's seat of the 8300 tomorrow. And then Todd is going to take over on planting duty, so we'll swap places with him. So yeah, I guess with all that being said, I will catch up with you guys on April 2nd or tomorrow, either one, however you want to look at it. And we will finish up planting corn and doing some tillage. So yeah, I will see you all then. Okay, so it's a new day. It's April 2nd. It's almost 10:30 in the morning. We're going to get right to work doing some tillage on one of our new fields. And also Todd is at the farm today. He's here. Well, actually, he's not here right now. He has taken the tractor and he is just now starting to plant another one of our fields of corn. So we have a lot of moving parts today, and while he's busy doing that, I'm obviously going to disc up this field. Now the field is in pretty decent shape. There is just a lot of weeds and just kind of junk on the surface. You'll see when we get here, but there is no residue, there's no stubble, so it sat dormant through winter, basically ready to plant. I just want to get a lot of these weeds buried and stuff. I don't want to plant right into them. And this field is obviously the one up here at the very top of the map. It is one of our new fields we bought this past winter. So we're going to drive out here and get started, not waste any time this morning. So right here is the field. This is actually one of my first times coming out here to it. I mean, I did come out here and check out the field after we had bought it, but this is the first time doing any kind of field work. And as you can see, there is just a lot of weeds and just kind of like junk on the ground. I don't even know what you'd really call this. It's not really residue, but it kind of does seem like it a little bit. And then this field should have a nice seed bed when we're done here, just like the rest of the fields that we can just plant right into. So yeah, let's go ahead and hop back in the tractor. We'll set the disc down and we will get started. And so while it's not perfect, it is definitely a lot easier on the eyes. I feel like this is a pretty trash looking field with all the weeds and everything. So now we will have a very even, nice seed bed to plant right into. And like I've said many times, I think whenever you actually cultivate the field and it actually is called a seed bed in the menu screen, your yield is increased. So we're actually doing this field an even bigger favor. Come harvest time, if we play our cards right, this field should be, or actually I don't think there's any debating it, this field is going to be our highest yielding field across the board. It's going to give us so many bushels to the acre. Between the yield expectancy and just all these little tweaks we're going to be doing, I mean fertilizer, getting the nitrogen and pH right in the soil, which we did put lime out here. And now that we're at the bottom of the field, you can actually see the true scale of it. It is a little bigger than it looks on the map, so it's nice to have a decent sized field, because I think personally I would rather pick up one or two decent sized fields rather than a bunch of smaller fields. I don't know, that's just me, but this right here is a solid 20 or so acres. So yeah, with all that being said, we're going to finish this field up with a little bit of a time lapse. We're just going to fly through this, get it all cultivated up, ready to be planted, and then about that time we'll switch seats with Todd and we'll be back in the 8320 on the planter tractor, and we will finish up corn planting in this episode. At least I think we will. I'd like to either way. So yeah, let's get after it. we're done with this field, and I would say this looks a whole lot better than it did. I mean, we did miss a few spots here and there, but we've got a very nice seed bed to plant into now. This disc does work pretty great. I know I was complaining about it and saying I wanted a field cultivator, but for what it's worth, it is a very nice set of discs. So we're about to head out of here. We're going to head back to the house. Todd has finished planting the field he was in, so he's gone back. I think he's putting some more liquid fertilizer in the planter. So we're about to take over his position, and he's going to do something else. I'm not sure what he's going to switch over to. He might start spraying fertilizer on the fields of wheat. But this right here to the left of me is the last field of corn that we have to plant this spring. Not even kidding. We have already flown through planting season that fast. This planter that we've got this year, the 12 row, makes it seem a whole lot quicker. We are absolutely knocking it out. So while we do have some soybeans to plant, that'll come later. We've knocked all the corn out, so that's honestly a pretty big accomplishment. So we will drop this disc off and put the tractor up for now. Yeah, I can see that he has parked the planter over there, and judging by the money, Todd has picked up another barrel of fertilizer already. Didn't even realize that. I knew he said he was coming back to the farm to refill, but did not notice he had already picked that up. So we will park this, and we will switch back over to the planter tractor, try to get as much of this done today as we can. Alright, now we'll pull the 8300 up to the shop. And I guess we'll just park it right outside the doors in case Todd is actually planning on using this tractor. And I sure did cut it close there. Good thing the brakes are a little stronger than I thought they were. I almost ran right into the doors. That would have not been good. Alright, so now we can get right back to planting. And man, this thing needs a bath already. Holy cow, this is dirty. And somehow we've only managed to, we haven't even replaced the seed in the boxes since we started planting corn. I'm not really sure if that's a precision farming thing or if that's with this exact planter, but having to refill those tanks of liquid fertilizer like 6 or 7, 8 times now. I mean, after every field we have to refill them. And then the boxes that are debatably smaller, like a lot smaller, still have the same amount of seed in as we started planting. Let's see how much is actually in the tank. 45% still in there. So I don't know about you guys, but something about this planter seems a little off. Oh, and it might help if I folded this up so we can take it down the road. So yeah, maybe the tanks are going to come off at the end of this year. I don't know for sure. I just don't know if we can afford all this liquid fertilizer at the rate it's putting it out. Doesn't seem very realistic to me, and I don't want to keep spending 40 grand a year on liquid fertilizer. The statistics tab in the menu says we've spent almost 20 grand, I think, on just fertilizer costs this year alone. So that is pretty crazy if you ask me. That's so expensive, but we'll figure something out. I'm sure you guys are probably tired of me talking about it, but I don't know what to do really. This is kind of strange. Did not really think about the planter putting out so much fertilizer and how much it costs, because it's about $3,000 a barrel of the stuff, so pretty interesting. But this right here will be the last field we plant corn on, so we can just empty the tanks after this and use the fertilizer for the wheat fields, I guess. I don't know what else we'd use it for. It'd just be laying around the shop. So we'll drive all the way back into town. Oh man, the back and forth gets really irritating, not having an on-site place to refill or having somebody to come pick the tractor up. You've got to make a lot of trips back and forth, which is not even a far drive. It's just through this town and in all the traffic, which has actually been kind of decent here recently. Usually the traffic is all over the place and crazy. You guys have seen plenty of examples of that. One of my recent videos was prime example of that. If you want to go watch that, feel led to do so. Alma traffic is absolutely crazy. It was towards the end of the video and almost got pulled out in front of, and then there was almost a head-on collision happened like right here where I'm driving. So yeah, sure is a good thing there's no crazy drivers out today. Well, I got this $40,000 planter hooked up to this $100,000 tractor. I mean, this right here is almost a 200 grand rig we're running right now, so sure would hope nothing happens to this. So yeah, we'll get right back to it. We don't have long to go now. Like I said, this is our last field of corn, and then we're done planting. Or well, we're done with corn. We still got the soybeans to do. 3 fields of soybeans to plant. So slowly but surely we're knocking it out. 12 rows at a time, which is a huge difference from what we were doing last year. So I think I'm going to end this one here, you guys. This episode was really just a lot of planting. I wanted to try and fit it all in one episode, but more than likely the next one will have some more planting action and whatnot, because I really do enjoy this, especially running new equipment. It makes it a lot more interesting, at least in my opinion. So yeah, we'll be back double cropping and planting soybeans and whatnot. But I think next episode is going to be a lot of just making hay and normal, whatever you call it, like the transition from late spring to summer, because we are kind of getting to that time of the year. May is creeping up on us faster than I thought it would. So then right after that it'll be wheat harvest, and before we know it, it's going to be fall time again. So yeah, the year is picking up speed. I hate saying that because it's really going by fast, but hey, not a whole lot you can do in the springtime other than just planting and some minor field work, which we've seen a lot of, but we got most of it done in the fall time. So it's nice to just come out here and plant for a little while and just put some crop in the ground. It's always fun to me. So yeah, with all that being said, I want to thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and I hope to see you all in the next one.